What we're looking at today is a sneaker that I had never heard of. I'm absolutely, totally being honest with you. I've never ever heard of the Nike Air Structure. Now, I don't know what that means. Maybe it means I'm an idiot. Maybe it means this shoe just never got big. Maybe it means it was a shoe that was just before my time, because right here is the Air Max 90, and that was the first shoe that I ever really became aware of. I was 14 at the time. Do your math, you can work out how old I am. The Air Max 90 was the first shoe. I was kind of like, and then came the Air Max 180s, and I'm like, woo, that was the very first shoe that I really, really wanted, and I was bugging my parents about getting. And then came the Air Max 93 or 270s, whichever you want to call this, and that was the very first sneaker that I ever really owned, if you know what I mean. Not like just your run-of-the-mill sneakers. We're talking the one that you want, and you go out, you hunt it down, and you get it. I actually bought that for my 40th birthday as a sort of retro kind of, couldn't afford a BMW, if you know what I'm saying. So for me, that was it. Like the Air Max 90, Air Max 180, Air Max 3s, the 93s. That was my kind of thing. I was like, there's always been that hole between the Air Max 90s and the Air Max 180s. What's in there? And then it turns out this was in there, and I just didn't know about it. But maybe other people know a lot about it. And what we're going to do today is we're going to dig into that and look at this upcoming release. They're bringing it back for the first time in something. It's been ages. They've only done it a couple of times, retroed this shoe, and they're bringing it back for this year, and it's to mark that 30th anniversary since 1991. I thought that was a blank year, but it turns out in 1991 we had this, and we're going to take a close-up look at it. The Nike Air, not Max, Structure Triax in the infrared colorway. This is the Tokyo Butter 23 Secret Channel. Tokyo Butter 23 Sneaker Channelです。毎日アップするので、毎日見てください。Every single day from Tokyo, Japan. I bring you content about upcoming sneaker releases, sneaker news, and sneaker reviews. And like I said today, we've got a sneaker in the spotlight that I just didn't know anything about. Now, you guys will know because you watch my channel all the time, every day, right? Every single day. That I research these videos and I check them out before I come and talk about them today. Find the shoes that I think are going to be most interesting, or the shoes that are, new to me, because I don't want to be flat. I don't want to keep doing the same old rotation of Air Max 90s, Air Force Ones, Jordans, whatever. I want to keep things a bit fresh. And if there's a shoe out there that's new, gives me a chance to grow my bit of knowledge in the sneaker world, then I definitely take that dip. Like with, for example, Kyrie 7s did that recently for the first time, just trying to keep me fresh as much as the channel fresh. And that's what this one right here is. And I was absolutely yes on digging into this shoe. I totally didn't know anything about it at all, and then as I dug into it, it was like, that's definitely a shoe worth talking about, bringing to the channel, and that's what we're doing right now. So it's called the infrared colorway, and we're going to get into that and have a look at it. I'll stress that point I made earlier, that it is not an Air Max, even though I don't know why, because looking at it, it's clearly an Air Max. That's just my opinion, and it fits that sequence of growth, from Air Max 90, Air Max Structure, even though it's not called the Air Max, then the Air Max 180s, and then the Air Max 270s. That just makes sense to me that this would fit right in there. But like I say, I don't know why it's not Air Max. Maybe you know, and you'll let us all know in the comments down below. But talking of that, let's start with that. That's the main place I think that's worth looking at on this shoe, is the air unit where that Air Max would normally be defined. So let's start on the lateral side, and this will give us two of the main hits on this shoe. Hit number one is looking at the lateral side air unit on there, and you can see it's in that sort of aqua blue, and you're thinking to yourself, why is it an aqua blue when it's an infrared shoe? But I don't know why the colorway is that, but I do know that aqua blue matches this infrared, and we're looking at an Air Jordan 6, and you're like, what on earth, where's he going with this? But clearly, as I zoom in on the Air Jordan 6 and that air unit at the back, on the lateral side of an Air Jordan 6, you can see the structure of it, and especially the kind of rectangular feel to it, and the extra hit of color up and around the top of the Air Jordan 6 air unit. And then we come back to today's shoe, and you can see the structure of it totally matches. So those infrared 6s, in physical structure, it matches the air unit on the side of these Nike Air structures, but not the color. They've got blue on the lateral side. But then when we flip it out and have a look at the Air unit on the medial side of these guys, the structures today, you can see you've got that infrared there. Now they're both, the blue on the lateral side and the red on the medial side are both kind of pastel. They're kind of washed out colors in a way. They're not that popping, strong, vibrant color. And that's again another reason why I'm not so sure about calling these guys infrareds. Half blue for one reason, and then the red is not exactly infrared. It's more of kind of pastel red. But going back to that Air unit on the side there, it's got a more triangular feel, whereas the lateral side had a rectangular feel to it. Now we've got a kind of triangular feel to it. Now I'm taking the cue off of those Air Jordan 6s at the front. It's not an Air unit on the front there, or at least not a visible Air unit on the front, but it definitely is more triangular to the front of Air Jordan 6s, and that flash of a second color at the top part of it, and then back to that medial Air unit on these guys. I can't help but see that crossover between the Air Jordan 6s and these Air structures, and especially 1991 being the year of release, because 1991 was the year that Jordan was hitting the hardwood in the Air Jordan 6 and winning his first championship ring. So seeing that crossover between the Jordan line and the Air structures. Now what I don't know is who designed the Air structures, because the Air Max 90s were designed by Tinker Hatfield and the Air Jordan 6s were designed by Tinker Hatfield too. So if this also was designed by Tinker Hatfield, you could see how the different designs would be kind of bleeding from one arm of the Nike family to another arm, in the case of these guys here, the Nike Air structures. So that's, you know, my main look at the shoe though, my main 2 points to take away from these guys is the Air unit being structured differently on the medial and the lateral sides, at least around the outside edge of it, and then also the color being different from the medial and the lateral sides, where it's blue on the lateral and infrared on the medial, and that's a beautiful place to look at that colouring and that crossover as we go up onto the tongues and look at the tongue branding, where you see the blue and the red crashing together to meet in the middle there, and it gives you a very nice vibe for the shoe. And then back from that a little bit, looking at the insole, you can see the infrared insoles and the branding there. Disappointment for me was the heel. Let's go have a look at the heel right here. You can see the embroidered branding on the back of these guys on the heel there, but only in one colour. And that kind of surprised me, given this kind of half and half feel to the shoe. Now, there was two ways they could have gone about this. One was to alternate it, whereas one shoe was red and the other shoe was blue, or the other way would be to have the Nike in red and the swoosh in blue, for example, and then it matches the tongues. If you go back and have a look at the tongues here, and you see that the way they managed to get the two colours in the tongues there, and then back to the heels, the way they didn't manage to get the two colours in the heels there, it's kind of a disappointment to me. It's a small detail. It's not all that important to the sort of story of the shoe, but it's just sort of like they worked so hard with those two colours on every other part of the shoe, and then why not a little bit of extra effort on the heel? And that's very visible on the outsole. If we go have a look at the outsole of these guys, it's a pretty simple black outsole, especially when you think about the technology of 1991, but they've done, again, a great job of bringing in the blue and the red from those Air units, and again a different structure to that as it comes in from the sort of triangular side on the red side, on the medial side, and then the square or rectangular side on the blue side, and that's reflected on the way that the Air unit, the outsole is structured on the shoe. So a great place to finish it up and wrap up this video. And like I said, this is the first time I've ever looked at this shoe, first time I ever looked. I didn't even know it existed, didn't even know the Nike Air structure was a thing, and then here we are doing a review about it, and hopefully the research I've done on it is true, accurate, revealing, gives you guys an insight into the shoe. And also, if you guys did know this shoe existed, I'm sure there's a certain degree of nostalgia about it. You're thinking, that was a great shoe when I was at school in 1991. I totally missed me. You know, I was not yet getting into my sneakers and not yet getting into fashion. I was still letting my mum pick my clothes back in 1991. But it was getting to that time when I was becoming more aware of it. And like I said, it's leading into the first shoe that I really, really went after. The very first shoe in the sort of history of sneakers sneakers in Tokyo Bara 23 was the Nike Air Max 93 or 270, whichever way you call that. Like I say, a great shoe for me, important shoe for me, so important that I got it for my 40th birthday as well. So, and that's today's video. Hopefully you guys appreciate that, and I really hope that people will hit me up with comments down below to tell me what they know about this shoe and what their history with this shoe is, because I truly believe that more people will have known about this shoe than I would have, and there's a story to it that I just don't know about. So if you do know more about it, let me know in the comments down below. But for now, it's time for me to sign off. Thank you guys for checking out the content, and I'll say that thing I say at the end of every single video, which is I do this every single day. So you are guaranteed to see me tomorrow.